famous for? Do you work on the cutting edge? Was it the rock stars you wrote about?
I was really fortunate that I was around some of the top rock stars in the world. ZZ Top, Van Halen, the Rolling Stones.
Maybe social media brought you stardom.
You have 1 million friends. Cool.
Or does your family history put you in the spotlight? Keep watching. We're helping you discover your claim to fame next on Great Day.
Woo! Here's your host, Deborah Duncan.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Great Day. Today we are celebrating people's talents and the things that make them famous, whether they're famous in their own mind or famous in their family or worldwide, like our first guest, Mr. Reverend Butter. Please welcome him to the show this morning. Hi there.
Hey, what's going down? What's going down? Pleasure to meet you, Miss Deborah.
Okay, a man with a chainsaw and a block of ice.
That's it.
You obviously are an ice sculptor.
Yes, ma'am.
How did this start? Because you grew up here in Houston where, like, you know, playing with snowmen was not a big deal.
That's it. I started with the Snoopy snow cone maker. I started shaving the ice. I said, this isn't enough for me. I want to sculpt the ice.
Wow. Okay. Were you an artist otherwise, or was it just you started with
sketched,
ice?
I drew as far as I could remember. I was always drawing, painting on the walls, and this is actually my first medium to sculpt was ice.
All right. So tell us what it takes to do something like this, because obviously you have the tools of the trade, and we got a chainsaw is one thing.
It just takes a lot of practice, patience, and a lot of heart. You got to really want to do it.
Okay, we want to take a look at some of the things that you have done before. And the first piece we're going to look at, I think, is the Terracotta Warriors. We know at the Museum of Natural Science they had the Terracotta Warriors there, so that was your inspiration.
Yeah. It was a great piece. The museum contracted us to do pretty much a replica of the exhibit, and it was pretty much about 18 tons of ice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a lot.
To get all that ice in there. Okay, the next one is at the World Ice Art Championships. You did a crucifix named Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway to Heaven. It was a 30-foot crucifix, 10 steps going up to the cross with each commandment on the step. So it was a beautiful piece and a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work and a lot of ice. Where do you even start?
With something like that, it's all design, preparation. They get the ice from the lake itself. So each block is 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and 3 feet thick. And it's nothing but forklifts and cherry pickers moving that around. I mean, the scrap ice alone was about this size, what I use here.
Yeah.
So
wow. Okay.
It was insane.
The chainsaw, but there are times when you actually use fire.
Fire gets it nice and clear, plus fire and ice go hand in hand.
Yeah, okay. And then there's the Child Protective Services, which was a scorpion fighting a black widow, was another piece that you did.
Yeah, we did that actually a couple of weeks ago. And that was a beautiful piece too. That was 25 feet in the air. You had a mama scorpion taking care of her babies and fighting a black widow, which was trying to eat one of the babies.
Ooh, okay. How do you even start doing something like this? If someone says, you know, I think I'd like to try that, how do you start?
That's exactly how I started. I wanted to learn this. I actually came across an ice sculpture. It was done by one of Houston's first ice sculptors, Walter Odermatt. And I approached him and actually apprenticed under him for 4 years.
All right, we want you to get started, and then I'm going to stop you for a second just so we can get an idea of what it takes to get started here, okay? I'm going to step out of the way.
You might want to do that.
So you're starting something there. Yeah, you were getting going there. You started something. Hey, have you ever been in a situation where you had to work so fast because the ice might melt?
Well, here in Texas, you got to work a little faster. So it's constantly melting, as you can see. I mean, it's melting right before our eyes, but it's close to 300 pounds of ice, so it takes a little bit longer to melt than most ice cubes here.
And I got to ask you, when you work so hard on something that's so beautiful, like some of those other sculptures we saw earlier, is there a little sadness when it just kind of melts away?
Well, just a little bit, but I find joy in knowing that if it didn't melt away, they wouldn't call me back for more, you know?
Ah, there you go. Always keeps you in business. Okay,
exactly.
I can't wait to see what it's going to look like at the end of the show, so we're going to put you back to work in a minute. But up next, for somebody else who is famous, you've known her for over 20 years on the airwaves, and she is one of our rock and roll queens. Take a look. making some people famous. And that really cool guy, Reverend Butter, is still sculpting ice. We'll check in with him later to see what he's made. Get out of here so I can say Elvis has left the building. All right, woo! Look at this. All right, so we're checking back in with Reverend Butter to see what he's come up with out of that block of ice. You are a girl's best friend. Beautiful shoes.
I got inspired. Them sexy shoes Deborah got on. Look at that. So, a little inspiration right there.
Very, very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us and doing this. I can't believe you got all that done out there. Look at all that detail and stuff. How long does it generally take you to do something those grand ones? How many hours did it take for you to do those?
The grand ones took up to a week.
What?
Up to a week.
A week
this was
working on it.
Like 15 minutes.
That's amazing. All right. What's the most odd thing someone's asked you to make?
I don't think I could say it on this show.
Okay, well, okay. Okay, so if you would like to see more incredible things that Reverend Butter does out of ice, there's a dinner and entertainment taking place during Big Bite Night at the Houston Museum of Natural Science. Someone in the audience is actually winning tickets, and that person is, draw the name, that's going to go to Michael Graham. You're going to Big Bite Night. Okay. For more information on Reverend Butter and other famous folks from today's show, log on to GreatDayHouston.com. Coming up, 5 local women are about to become famous after receiving the keys to a brand new car.